Hey everyone, welcome to our Monday Live. Today we're talking about what to do when your launch backfires and how you can recover. So if you've ever launched something like a workshop, a program to work with you, that could be a group program or a private coaching program, or maybe you've just put out an event, a workshop, a class, and nobody showed up to the event. Maybe no one signed up to say yes to join your program. Maybe you put out your lead magnet and you thought it was really great and no one opted into it. Or maybe you just got one person or not as many people as you would like. So if that's you, you are really going to appreciate today's live. Hello, welcome. Feel free to say hello in the comments by typing your name because I'm using StreamYard and I want to be able to say hi to you personally. We have landscaping happening at our house today, so I don't know if you can hear it, but I can really hear it. So if you hear it, I'm sorry, it's going to end soon. This is also for you. Maybe you've never launched anything, and the reason you haven't launched is because you're afraid of all of the things I just mentioned. So you're definitely also going to get a lot of value from today. So if you're meeting me for the first time, hello, welcome. I am Khadijah. And I work with coaches and service-based entrepreneurs inside of my Business Queen Academy, where I help you to create, to launch, and market what I call your soul signature offer. So I'm so happy to see you, Nita. Welcome. I love to just take a moment to just take a few breaths and we'll dive into the content. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes if you can, if you're not driving, and we're going to just take 3 gentle breaths together. And I'm going to let you do it at your own pace. And just allowing yourself to arrive into this now moment. This is your time for you and your business. And just be willing and have an open mind to receive whatever is here for you to receive. Giving thanks in advance for what a blessing it is to be a business owner, to work with clients, for people to have faith and trust in you, to be of service and help transform other people's lives, and you be inspired by the wins of your clients. That is such a blessing. So just recognize that you're already starting from abundance. And taking a nice deep breath. And when you're ready, you're going to gently open your eyes. You are already starting from abundance, okay? You are already starting from abundance. To be a business owner means that you are a creator, that you're a creative thinker, you're a content creator, you're a visionary, you have ideas, you think outside of the box. You're already starting from abundance. So please remember that. So today I'm going to be talking more about like what actually happens in a launch. If you've already launched something, what went wrong, something that you might be considering a failure. We'll unpack what could have gone wrong with your launch. And then number 3, how you can get back out there after, you put something out there and you didn't get the results that you want. So what does it mean to launch? So to launch something means exactly what it sounds like. Like I think about like a spaceship or a rocket, like to put something out there, it means that you're going to introduce or reintroduce your service, your offers, your program, something that you have upcoming, and you're going to bring it to the marketplace. So it includes a whole host of activities such as like marketing campaigns, that could be emails that you send to your list if you have one, and includes social media posts, videos. I think of if you've already hosted events and you've taken pictures and then you're sharing those pictures, letting people know like, this was an amazing retreat, you should come to the next one. So it's all of these things that you're doing to increase awareness around your brand, around your business, around that particular offer. And typically it has a beginning and end date. That being said, as entrepreneurs, we're constantly promoting, talking about our offers, sharing value with our community. And, I think about like a book launch, sometimes it can help when you're looking at other things. Hello, Queens. Someone else says, yes, you are already living in abundance. Yes. Type of one, if you acknowledge that you're already living in abundance. If you have a computer, oh my gosh, you are abundant. If you have your little handy dandy iPhone, you are abundant. If you have easy access to the internet, you are abundant already. It doesn't mean if you don't have those things, you're not abundant. But what I'm saying is I want us to start with the abundance that we already have, because today we're talking about a launch that you consider a failure or didn't go well, we can get into feeling like we're not abundant. And it can lead to thinking like, am I cut out for this? Why is this person able to do this and I'm not able to? Welcome, Judith. So happy to see you here. But yes, I love seeing the ones that you're starting with abundance already. So I was saying, you can think about like a book launch when someone is promoting their book. Maybe you see pictures of the book, you see other people holding the book, and it makes you want to get the book. Or maybe the author, they get online and they read some passages for the book. I'm also thinking like maybe like a record launch party, and maybe they'll have a listening party. You can listen to a snippet. So these are things that we as solopreneurs, as entrepreneurs, as coaches, healers, and guides, we also do this as well. And so just because I see Judith's name and I know she's an amazing wellness coach, and so like she's always sharing her juices, her sea moss capsules, like giving your community a chance to see what's happening behind the scenes, has them feel excited and wanting to take part. And so I saw her behind the scenes and her talk of sea moss, and I was like, I want some sea moss. So I got some. So you should get your sea moss too. So again, when it comes to launching, there are specific things that we launch, but we're constantly sharing the message of our business over and over again. And so these are different things that we can be launching. Like it could be a podcast, it could be a group program that you have to invite people into a group journey. It could be that you're launching your private coaching program and that you're doing a push for that. It could be that you have an upcoming event like an Eventbrite or a meetup or an in-person workshop or an online webinar. Basically, I think that you get the idea that there's a series of activities that we're doing to increase awareness around it. And even though today we're talking about people who have already launched something and it didn't work out, and there can be some disappointment that comes with that. There could be some embarrassment that comes with that. I remember I had a client who was thinking about doing a workshop, but she was afraid to put it out because it's like, what if people see that people didn't come? And type a 1 in the comments if you've ever hosted an event or thinking about hosting an event and like that's a fear. Like, is anyone going to show up to my party? That is a very common one. And sometimes that prevents people from launching because like, what if no one shows up? And some of you who are watching have never launched anything. And I don't know, I think of that movie, it's with Matthew McConaughey. Thank you, Gail. It's called Failure to Launch, right? So some of you, I want to lovingly say, are watching this and you might be, in that failure to launch out of all of the things I just mentioned. Maybe because you're waiting for the right time or you're waiting for the thing to be perfect. When in fact, failure is how you perfect your process. And I'm using failure because that's the word I hear people use, but I don't necessarily consider it literally a failure, right? Like that's part of being an entrepreneur is you're stepping out into the unknown, you're testing out ideas. And it's through that process of you putting your stuff into the marketplace engaging with you. So like there's this alchemy that happens, and that's how you perfect what you're doing. There's just no way you're just gonna, it just all aligns beforehand. It's like you have to engage with the process in order to perfect it. So this can be a little loophole for those of you who identify with wanting things to be perfect. And I can raise my hand. I don't know if I think I want things to be perfect, but I know sometimes I want things to be a specific way. And throughout my business journey, I've had to release that, because otherwise you just stay in failure to launch mode forever. And I don't want that for you. And I don't believe that you want that for yourself either. So part of the way that you improve a program, yes, someone says here, experience teaches wisdom. Absolutely. It's like you just don't even know until your client tells you or the market tells you, then you're like, oh, okay, because you as the expert, you might be aware of so many things, and it might be missing what your audience, your clients need, because you haven't engaged with them. So this is why it's a collaborative thing. I'll quickly say, like, my you may have heard my story of how I was not a business coach. I was a general life coach. And then client after client kept asking me if I could help them get clients. So I was listening for that. I heard that and I said, I think I can do it. And so you want to be listening. That doesn't mean if your audience tells you something that you don't resonate with, that you have to do it. But it's like there's this beautiful dance between where you're lit up to share, teach, guide, coach, and what your community is seeking. So absolutely, we learn from each thing that we do. And I keep learning and keep growing and keep perfecting, so to speak. And one of the ways I'll just quickly say to do that is talking to your community, asking them what's working, asking them what they would like, seeing it. Sometimes people aren't even really articulating it, but you're paying attention. Like I heard that by like 8 people, like, can you help me get clients? I was like, okay. So I moved in that direction, and I also wanted to. So the first thing we want to do is, anytime you do a launch or put something out there, you definitely want to ask yourself, like, okay, what worked, what well? So the first thing we want to do is do a launch review. A huge mistake that I see is that people will launch something and they'll just move on to the next thing. They don't review it. They don't know where the clients came from. It's like, if you don't track the success or the quote unquote failures that you're having, you're kind of just going with your business with no real direction. You kind of need that data, and that's going to inform how you move forward. And so that doesn't help you improve your process if you're not reviewing. So the first thing you want to do is, do a review. What worked? What didn't work? Did you give yourself enough time? Were you pressed? Like all of these things. And this can be a part that's easy to resist. I sometimes resist it, where I'm like, I don't want to review it. Right? And then each time I do it, I gain so much value. It's like, oh, I think we were cutting it really close in terms of our time. Maybe it's like working with the person that you worked with. Maybe it didn't work, or it could have worked smoother. Maybe you need a template moving forward. So you always want to review what worked and what didn't work. Number 2 is, before we move on to number 2, type a 1 in the comments if you review what you do, and maybe put a 2 if you don't. It's fine. It's just, this is all self-awareness, right? We learn and we grow. So number 2 is you want to examine your offer. So the offer that you put out, was it just something that you wanted to do, or do you feel like you got feedback? Awesome. Someone here says that they do review their offers. Beautiful. Or do review what they put out. You want to look at your offer. Is it something that just you wanted to do, or do you feel like your community was saying that they wanted that? So you always want to be testing things to see, Like, are people biting on that offer? So sometimes things, people might not enroll because, you know, the offer isn't necessarily what they need. So there's just like a mismatch there. And so I encourage you to test your offers, simple things you can do. Like sometimes I put polls in this group here, or asking clients at different events, like, I was thinking of doing something like this. Is this something that you feel like would help? And so just that simple tweak of asking and putting out tests, and something we do in the Business Queen Academy is market research, where you're literally, and there's lots of ways to do market research. I talk about informal and formal ways inside of the academy. But oftentimes, if we haven't really dialed in who we're talking to and how we're communicating, it's like you're putting an offer out and it's like missing, it's not landing with them because it isn't necessarily a top priority. It could be cool, it could be valuable, but it might not be what they need. Sometimes I use the example of, I would, at this point as a parent, I'm not really paying attention to college because my kids are first and third grade, right? So completely valuable offer that someone has to help your kid get into college. It doesn't meet me where I'm at today, right now in that journey. When I'm ready for that, or maybe a couple of years before that, I'll probably start looking into that. So it doesn't mean that your offer is not a good one. It just might not meet your community where they're at. So we want to make sure that we kind of test our offer. The third thing is you want to examine your marketing plan. Like, do you have a plan, or are you just kind of willy-nillying it? And have you given yourself enough time to market and promote your offer, which is what your plan's going to give you, which is going to tell you you're going to be promoting this for this amount of time. These are the things that you're going to do to promote. This thing leads to the next thing. And so oftentimes, I've seen people just rush out to put something out there because they feel like they should. I have done this myself. And then you're like rushing to promote your offer. So hi, Yolanda, so nice to see you. Glad that you can make it live too. So have you given yourself enough time? If you're rushing to put out your offer, sometimes people need to hear it and see it several times before they're willing to take action. Like, just think about how you yourself purchase. Think about how you yourself purchase. Do you, sometimes you see something, you think that that's cool, you click on the link, maybe you just kind of skim, then you see the post again, or you see an ad and you revisit it. And then maybe the next time you might look at your calendar. So type a 1 in the comments if you can relate to this. And then you're like, oh, well, that's still a month away. I'm going to think about if I'm going to do it. So people purchase that way as well. And so you want to give people enough time to be hearing about your offer, to get excited about your offer, for people to ask questions. But if you're, let's say your thing's happening on Friday and today's Monday, and then you're like rushing to do it. So make sure you have a thought out marketing plan. And then sometimes we think we have enough time, and sometimes things take way longer than we expect them to. And so I've been known to be like, okay, to push something back because I need a little bit more time. So you want to make sure you have enough time to launch whatever it is that you're launching, not only for yourself so that you're not rushed, but then so that your audience has heard about it enough where they're like ready to take action. Now, speaking of your audience, is that one thing or one problem that can happen with people not signing up? It's just like, oh, maybe you just don't have that many people, or you've been marketing to the same people over and over again. So I have seen this a lot. Or maybe you're only marketing to one aspect of your audience. So that could look like maybe you just started your business page and there aren't that many people on your business page, but you have a lot of people on your personal page, but you've only been promoting on your business page because you feel more comfortable doing that. So if you don't really have an audience of people to, not just an audience of people who are interested in your topic, in your niche, who want to learn more about that, then that can diminish your chances for people for signing up, because you just don't really have that much of a pool of people who would be interested in taking that next step with you. So ask yourself, like, do I have enough people to market and promote to that want this particular thing? And one of the ways you could do that is what we talked about a few steps ago. Like, do you know anyone? I'll just use divorce, for example. Do you know anyone that is divorced? Do I have anyone that's divorced on my feed? I'm thinking about creating a workshop on, how to recover from heartbreak. So we want to make sure that we have not just a group of people, but a group of people who are actually going through divorce, who are actually wanting the thing that we talk about and that we have a solution for in our business. So last but not least is you want to ask yourself, this can be hard, and you don't want to ask yourself necessarily right after your launch, but these are kind of like the different areas that we're looking at. You want to ask yourself, like, where am I holding back? Am I hiding anywhere? Like, ask yourself if you really feel like you're showing up. So I'll use myself as an example. There were times earlier as a coach where I used to host a regular meetup. And then there are times when I'd say, okay, I'm doing an event, and then I would under promote. Maybe I would just post it on Meetup, and then like one person would come or two people would come, but I could still tell myself, I put it out there, see, and no one's coming, right? Now, as someone who has hosted so many events, I know the difference in my energy when I want people to show up and plan for people to show up, compared with when I used to kind of just do the minimum. And if you're doing the minimum, it's like, I get that we all have different bandwidth. Our energy isn't the same each time we do something. So I'm not talking about that. But this is where you get to just be honest with yourself. Like, am I holding myself back? Am I only doing this where it feels safe and not really putting it out there that how amazing this thing is and how it's open for people to join and how you would love to have people be a part of it? So those are the things, kind of like when we're doing our launch review that you want to ask. So I'll just say, you'll look at your offer, like, okay, do I have proof that my audience wants this offer? You want to, like, did I have a marketing plan? Did I give myself enough time? Do I have enough of an audience? And this isn't necessarily so much about numbers, but enough numbers in your niche of people that are interested. But before we even do that, we definitely want to make sure that we've got our niche down and we know who we're talking to. So did we give ourselves enough time? Did I have a solid marketing plan? We talked about, do you have enough of an audience? And then ask yourself, am I hiding back? Am I hiding or holding back in some way? I know many of times I was holding back and hiding. And sometimes in my conversations with clients, they can see places where, okay, you still have your foot on the pedal because there's some fear there of showing up or of being rejected, or, don't want to be embarrassed, it not working out. Just a whole host of things. So type a 1 in the comments if you can relate to anything that I've just shared. So now that you've done your review, how do we get back out there? So maybe you put it out and like you feel like it's a good thing. And maybe it was a lot already for you to do the marketing and promotion that you did. So to have to go through it again can feel like a lot. So thank you for the ones in the comments. I appreciate it for 2 reasons. 1, because other people are seeing that they're not alone. because sometimes people can feel like, oh, it's just me. It's easy for everybody else. It is just me. And I'm here to tell you, no, it's not just you. Part of the spiritual growth that you signed up for in growing your business is to face all these parts of yourselves that might not show up when you don't have to put yourself on the line, right? So this is a beautiful way to own your voice, own your voice, put your work out there, get confident, like all the things that you feel like are not enough. Like this is a path, a journey to reclaim that. So after you feel like something has failed or it didn't go the way that you want, you can feel worried, nervous, scared, like, is this going to work out? I tried this last time and no, I don't know if I want to put it. So you have two options. One is to keep backtracking, right? And it's like, okay, based on that experience, I don't want to move forward. Or like, you get to realize that you growing your business is a long game. It's bigger than each specific launch. And so I have found that to be incredibly useful when you have that like bird's eye view. Like if you look at any successful entrepreneur, do you think they're just going to tell you my journey has just been from the beginning? I was winning, and I just kept winning. Like, no, that's not what Hollywood movies are about. It's like there's a journey, right? Like you have some wins, you have some losses, you have higher wins. There's a breakdown. So realize that you're in this business. I imagine that you're here for the long game. Many of the people that are here, I know that you want this to be your career. So it's like we don't give up on our career the first promotion we don't get or the first, position we were passed up. It's like, no, you keep going for it. So the first thing that you want to do to get back out there is to celebrate that you launched something. This is very important. It is critical that you celebrate that you actually launched again because it takes confidence and courage to do that. A lot of people, are never moved past that fear, and you did, right? So the first step is to acknowledge and celebrate that I put out this offering. You loved yourself enough. You were confident in yourself enough. You were courageous enough to put yourself out there in the world for people to say yes or no, not now to it. So that's number one. So type in one in the comments and say celebrate. I'm celebrating myself. So the person who said good afternoon, if you want to put your name in the chat, I would love to say hello to you. So this is non-negotiable, right? But it's very easy to get in the weeds of your business and move on to the next thing and not celebrate because you're mad, right? You're mad that you didn't get what you want. So you're like negating the whole thing. And queens don't do that. And it doesn't mean that you don't acknowledge, feel the disappointment, feel whatever feelings you have. Hi, Johnette, nice to see you. But you want to celebrate that you took a step in the right direction. Number two is you want to acknowledge what did work. So sometimes it's very easy to look at all the things that didn't work. It's very easy to do that. A lot of people do that. Sometimes I do that. You forget, you're like, oh, one thing did work. If all you can find is one thing, there's probably multiple things, but acknowledge what did work. Maybe you got engagement on a post. Maybe people shared that post. Maybe one person did sign up, right? So sometimes, maybe you wanted 8 people, only one person. You're like, only one person signed up. I'm mad. Only one person signed up. It's like one person gave you money. I'm celebrating, Judith. Awesome. Happy to hear it. So if one person signed up to your option, to attend your class, to your program, that's a good sign. One of the things we talk about in the Business Queen Academy is to look at synchronicity, look at all the evidence that life is in support of your business, right? So that one person signing up is the start. Sometimes you think that you're ready, but you're not actually ready. And it could be that all you could support right now is one client. Like maybe your capacity hasn't grown. And it's like, okay, I have capacity. Like, maybe trust that you've reached your capacity for now, not forever, but for now. So celebrate everything that you can celebrate. Number 3 is you want to practice good self-care. Sometimes when you're launching, you could be all heads down into your business, into the next thing, and you could not be eating. You might be missing working out. You might be missing all these other things because you're working steadfastly on this goal. And sometimes you just need to step away, even if it's from your business and something that you love, but we're meant to be multidimensional beings and practice quality care. And so do something else outside of your business that rejuvenates you. You know, I don't know, join Zumba with Jeanette over here and get your happy hormones going. Do some Zumba, like feed into yourself, because what happens is when it feels like it's not going and you just feel down and discouraged, it's hard to show up in that space. But then you go take that Zumba class, you're like dancing, you're like, I'm so excited, I can't wait. I see the music and the dancing emojis, and you're so excited. And then when you communicate with someone on the sales call, when you show up on video, you're arriving with that energy and it's enrolling. And then the 4th thing you want to do is you want to remember, how has your offering, whether it's that workshop, that class, that program, the work that you do, has it transformed your own life in some way? Has it transformed the lives of former clients? Has it, or how you know it can transform the work of other people if they choose to work with you? So we have to remember why we're doing that, because what happens is, let's say you put it out, there's crickets, no one responds, then you're like, is this any good? Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I shouldn't put this out there. Maybe nobody wants this, right? So then we start in that spiral, and then we contract and we contract and we contract and don't show up. So what we're going to do is, after you do your review, so the next time you launch something, you know, maybe you give yourself some time and you're going to bring that review into your next launch, because sometimes you forget. This happens to me. So there are a few things that I do reoccurringly. So one is a summit, right? And so each time I'm like, okay, what worked well, what worked? But then if a long time has gone, maybe a year, 6 months since the last one, I can forget what didn't work. So then that's when I pull out my little Google Doc. It's like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. And so that's going to keep you on track. And then what you're doing is you're creating some standard operating procedures, because we know you want to grow. Maybe you want to hire someone like Yolanda to come and support your business, and you actually have written down directions that she can follow based on what you have found that works well. So this is not only supporting you, it's supporting you to show up. But then we talked about your business being a long game, where you're writing down, there's a template for how you do things. There's a template that you can share with clients so that they don't have to recreate the wheel and do this all from scratch. It doesn't mean that they can't, you know, I think of cooking. It's like, Judith might give us a recipe and we think it's incredible. And then the next time we do it, we're like, well, I decided to add a little cayenne pepper. So that's what I see, you know, templates and recipes as. Like, we can always do things to make them our own. So everything that you're learning, I think this also can support that launch mentality, is that in a way you're kind of a guinea pig, and that you're documenting, and everything that you're learning, you're helping your clients streamline that process, so they don't have to do that whole thing by themselves, only to be like, you know what, if I just got the juicer Judith told me to the first time, I wouldn't be buying my 3rd juicer now. Right? So that is why you want to do a review. You want to practice quality self-care. So the things that we talked about today, about reasons why your launch didn't go the way that you wanted, as you're looking through the things that I mentioned, It's not about judging yourself like, oh, I'm so stupid, I didn't give myself enough time. It's just like, oh, okay, I gave myself a month, but I probably need 6 weeks. So that's how I want you to look at it. It's not coming from the judgmental place of I did something wrong. It's like, how can I make this better next time? Um, Asking my offer, like, does my offer make sense? So it's like if you're in a program like ours, the Business Queen Academy, sometimes people will share their titles to their workshops, to their podcast, and they'll get feedback on it. So you're not doing it on your own. So as you're looking at the things that I mentioned, like about your marketing plan, like how could it improve? Maybe you know how I could improve. Maybe you could use some more support around that. Another thing we do is in the Business Queen Academy is like, what can you be doing to grow your audience? So those are the things that will support you in reviewing a launch and how you can get back out there after a failed launch. And the final thing I want to say is um, I use the word failed because that's what I hear people say, but I don't think it supports you to look at it as a failure. I think what supports you is, okay, like that didn't go the way that I wanted. And also know that this whole process, it's a refining process. So it gets better each time. I've shared several times of how I've made offers. There are things that I would made offers to, and no one signed up for that rendition. And then I tweaked it, and people signed up. And then it's like you keep tweaking, keep refining until you have that solid, repeatable thing that you can do over and over again. So type a 1 in the comments if you got anything of value on this live today. I would love to hear. And for those of you that want more support or are really serious about your launch, your next launch, and you feel like additional strategy and support would be beneficial to you, I highly encourage you to check out the Business Queen Academy. If you would like to know more about it, how we provide you with the marketing tools, strategy, support to launch your services over and over again, feel free to DM me the word launch and I will get in touch with you. So until next time, which is next Monday at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, happy launching. All right, bye everyone. And happy May. It's the first day of May.